Hey everyone, Denise Fleck, Pet Safety Crusader here. I want to talk to you about why every day should be Chip Your Pet Day. We all know about microchips. They're these little cylinders encased in glass. Wow, you can see it's so hard to show you. They're so tiny. I've got one taped here to a piece of paper. And there are no moving parts. There are no batteries. There's nothing that can go bad. But what it is, of course I get a phone call during this. But what it is it emits a radio frequency when a scanner passes over it, and a unique ID code, like you see here on this barcode, comes up on the scanner along with the manufacturer to let you know who the pet belongs to. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about microchips in just a few moments, but what I'd like to do quickly is read a story I wrote to you. Santa Clarita resident Joyce Culberhouse received a Christmas miracle just this past Christmas, a call she had been waiting almost 4 years to receive. You can tell already, hey Scott, that I'm going to get emotional on this one. "We never stopped looking. She is our baby," she explained after holding her Shih Tzu Shawnee in her arms for the first time in 44 months. Shawnee was stolen in April 2015. From the Culberhouse's former house in Castaic, California. They hired pet detectives, search dogs, plastered posters and flyers everywhere they could, and even hung a banner across the 5 freeway. Those of you in Southern California know all about the 5. She and husband Randy kept in touch with their pet's microchip company, created a Bring Shawnee Home banner, and also a Facebook page, and mailed letters to countless shelters. Then, out of the blue, a man and his dog found Shawnee last Christmas Eve, walking the streets all alone. He took the dog home since vet offices were closed for the holiday, put a red collar on Shawnee, and shared Christmas with her and his own pooch. The next day, he took Shawnee to the local vet clinic, and a microchip was detected and connected to the Culberhouses, and the rest is history. There's a whole lot more to this story. I hope you'll read my blog about it, but unfortunately, during that time, Shawnee wasn't very well taken care of and has had to go through quite a number of surgeries, but she is back with her mom and dad, and she is getting healthier and stronger, and actually, they've moved to my neck of the woods in Georgia now, and it's just a wonderful testament that even after 44 months, a microchip, this tiny little cylinder you see here between my fingers, can reunite a pet and her family. So like I was saying, a microchip is just a tiny electronic chip encased in a glass cylinder. It's just a bit larger than you see than a grain of rice. Whoops, it's fallen off me again. So those of you that are just joining, I want you to see one that's taped right there to that piece of paper. Over the years, just from the one company, Home Again, there are several manufacturers that do make microchips, but just from Home Again alone, 2 million pets have been returned to their families. Like I said before, microchips do not require batteries. They do not have any moving parts. They cannot wear out. The one thing with them, though, is they can migrate. They can move throughout the body. But nothing never needs to be replaced. So what I do suggest you do is every year when you go in for your annual visit to your veterinarian, or maybe biannual if you have a senior dog and are seeing your vet a little more often, have the vet scan your pet. That way you know it's working. You can maybe peek over their shoulder and look on the screen and make sure the proper information is connected to that microchip. And I'm going to get back to that in a moment. And it just gives you peace of mind that it's working and that you know where it is. Some do actually move. Some manufacturers make them with tiny little barbs. I mean, you can see how tiny it is. So the barbs would be very tiny, and the idea is just to hold them in place better there in the shoulder blades. I've had pet first aid students over the years that have found them down in the paw of their pet when they were scanned, or in the side. So they do move around, and I'm going to give kudos to the Burbank Animal Shelter, my former home base where I used to volunteer for many years, because they took it upon themselves to really train their animal control officers and kennel attendants how to scan, because a scanner, very often people just take it across the back there thinking that the microchip is in the shoulder blades. But you need to take it down the legs, down the side of the rib cage, really check the pet all over. A lot of research hasn't been done, but we're finding out that sometimes even the medical tables, the stainless steel tables that pets are examined on, or even stainless steel collars may affect the scanner and may not properly identify. And the worst thing that can happen is that a pet has a microchip, it goes undetected, and then that pet gets adopted to another family, while the first family is still looking for that pet and has done everything right. Microchips operate on radio waves, and when the scanner is passed over them, the chip transmits to the scanner, like I said, the actual name of the manufacturer plus the actual unique ID code just to that one and only microchip that is inside the pet. Now, microchips are injected through a hypodermic needle. Here's one. Here's an actual microchip needle, just so you can see it. And the microchip, goes inside and fits, and it's injected into the loose part of the skin on your dog or cat. They do it on other species, livestock as well. But after that injection, you're not done. That's what people need to know. You are not done after the microchip is injected. Hey, Scott. Hey, Sarah. What you need to do is register it with the company. It might be Home Again. It might be Avid. There's a bunch of companies out there, but you have to call. You have to write by snail mail. You have to go online, obviously the best way to do it, and connect that unique microchip number to you, the human. Certainly put in your pet's information, his veterinarian, but it also needs your name, your address, your phone number, your email, your cell phone number. And it's so very important that if we move or if we change our cell phone number, hey, Bernadine, that we actually change our microchip number too. Not change the number, but I mean update the information with the manufacturer, because there's no way we could have a happy ending like Shawnee had with Joyce and Randy if they don't have the proper information. Bonnie, oh, I'm so happy to see all of you tuning in, because this just is such important information. Now, typically, oh my God, Elaine, hello, hello, hello. Typically, this injection is done in a veterinarian's office. It can often be done in an animal shelter. And what a lot of animal shelters and veterinarians do too these days is they actually inject the microchip in the young animal or the newly adopted animal when they're having their surgery for spay-neuter. So they don't even ever know what happens. But no anesthesia is required. The implant can just take place during a routine veterinary visit or at an animal shelter. I don't recommend just anybody picks up one of these and injects a microchip in their pet. You want to know what you're doing to cause, the least amount of pain and prevent an infection, but it is a pretty routine procedure to have done, and it just can be so life-saving. Now, do know it's not a GPS device. You're not going to be able to know, which street corner your pet is sitting on. But when an animal is found and then taken to a shelter or a veterinarian, one of the first things they do is scan for that microchip. There are about 50,000 scanners out in the U.S. population right now. To me, it actually seems like there should be more. Most of them are at animal shelters and vet offices. Where I used to live, in the community, one person had one. And, I've talked about that maybe other places that have like homeowners associations and all, it would be a great thing, because then whenever a pet is stray in the neighborhood, they can go right to the, homeowner's office, scan the pet, and hopefully, find out who he or she belongs to. A study was done of more than 7,700 stray animals, and only 21.9% of the dogs without microchips ever found their way to their humans again. 52.2% of the cases, the pets were returned. Obviously, you would think that number would be higher, but either people hadn't updated the microchips, or doggone it, some of them never even registered them. So please remind any of your pet-loving friends, pet-owning friends, I hope they're all the owning ones or loving ones too, but remind them that they have to register. It's just not a done deal when the microchip is injected. And to please, please, every time you move, change a cell phone number, update, even change your veterinarian to update that information. I'd like to put a call out to microchip companies, or maybe it's something one of us can do at one point in time. But you know how the U.S. Postal Service has these packets when we move to remind us all the places we need to change our address. Well, I certainly think, that something about microchips should go into one of those packets to remind pet parents to make sure they make those changes as well. So please go to my blog. It has a bit more detail, but besides Shawnee, you'll read about Petey, who was a beautiful pit bull dog napped from North Charleston, and when she was missing for more than a month, she found herself all the way into Asheville, North Carolina, but a microchip came to the rescue. Many chip companies, in addition to just having the microchip, I've got to put this down, I'm going to do some danger with it, have an alert system so that when you notify them your pet is missing, they will report it to veterinarians, shelters, broadcast it throughout, multiplying the chances that your best friend will be found. If you do go to my blog, I list the various manufacturers, their phone numbers, and their website so that you can, in fact, go in, do it today, do it this week, but at least do it this month. It's, Chip Your Pet Month. Make sure your information is up to date. You never know. You may think it's perfect, and maybe you put a stray character in your address or in your phone number. So just, be double doggone sure that it's correct for your pet's sake and yours, because without our pets, we're just lost. There was a doggy named Shadow who was playing, in the backyard with his family, and they were doing some yard work and didn't even know Shadow got out. And actually, I believe a Good Samaritan found Shadow, and they were notified so quickly because the microchip was scanned before they even realized the dog was missing. On my blog, I've got a video of a dog named Tinkerbell, and it's not the typical dog you would think named Tinkerbell. It's actually a female mastiff. Great, big, beautiful girl. And they were visiting California over 4th of July weekend, and the dog, like many, gets spooked for 4th of July. And I'm going to say it now, we're more than a month away, but more animals end up at animal shelters during the 4th of July holiday than any other time of year. And those are the lucky ones, because some of them, run scared into the path of a car. Well, what happened to Tinkerbell is she ended up in the LA River. And any of you from California know what the LA River is. It doesn't always have water. Sometimes it has minimal amounts of water. Sometimes it has gushing amounts of water. But regardless, it's a channel that's not necessarily easy to climb out of unless you know, the correct path. Well, a tourist spotted Tinkerbell in the LA River. The firemen, the fire department were on the scene. They got her lifted up out of the LA River and to safety, and she was scanned. Thanks to that microchip between her shoulder blades, she and her family were reunited. So while, some of these happily ever afters I mentioned only took a few hours, days, or weeks, Shawnee's happily ever after took a whole lot longer, almost 4 years. But the point is, your pet has a better chance of being reunited with you and finding his way home to you if they're microchipped, and if you register that microchip with the company, the manufacturer. Now, I just want to dispel a few concerns before I call it a day here. People are worried, well, do they give our pets cancer? It's, something foreign injected into their bodies. Well, anything foreign in the body, sometimes the body rejects it. Sometimes things do happen. But number one, I want to tell you that it's injected in pretty much the same place where vaccines are given. So if there's anything funky going on, it's possible it's the preservative from vaccines your pets may have had. But of course, if you notice any, abnormality, your best choice is to always go to your veterinarian to have it checked out. Actually, there have only been tumors reported. Remember, what did I say? That 2 million pets have been returned with microchips. So close to 5 million pets now actually have microchips. Only 2 dogs and 2 cats have really been reported to have tumors in the area of the microchip. And in 1 dog and 1 cat, the tumor could not be directly linked to the microchip itself. Something else possibly caused it. It just happened to be in that area. Maybe the microchip irritated it. Maybe it was just in the area. So, you know, with 5 million pets having microchips and 4 having tumors in the area of the microchip, I think the benefits of microchipping your pet far outweigh the risks. And this is something I was talking about just recently also with flea and tick preventive. We have to be, knowledge is power. So we have to be informed, but then you have to weigh, you know, any kind of medication or any kind of procedure always is going to have its risk, whether it's for us humans or for pets. But when we get the information, then we can make a good decision and realize where that balance lies. And if having our pet returned to us, you know, far outweighs the minuscule chance that something could go wrong with that microchip, I think it's really beneficial. So although the month of May has been designated Chip Your Pet Month, and August 15th every year is called Check the Chip Day to make sure it's working, make sure you have everything updated, I think the most important thing us responsible and caring pet parents can do is just not wait for a certain day on the calendar, but do it now. Make sure all of your information is correct. Go online when you get off the Facebook with me here today, and you know, next time you go to your vet, have your dog or cat scanned and give yourself peace of mind and then a pat on the back, knowing you've done something right for that precious furry family member. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and, you know, give plenty of belly rubs and ear scratches from me. Bye-bye for now.